China may be abandoning its infamous wolf warrior diplomacy. In recent weeks, China has reached out to the West in an effort to improve diplomatic ties and has reshuffled its top foreign policy team. With Beijing seemingly set to abandon its deeply unpopular diplomatic style, we take a look at these major changes. To begin with, what is wolf warrior diplomacy? Essentially, it refers to the aggressive and confrontational style adopted by Chinese diplomats over the last few years. The term is inspired by the nationalist Chinese film franchise Wolf Warrior, which depicts Chinese protagonists squaring off against and defeating Western powers who threaten China's interests. The film's nationalist themes seem to have resonated with China's diplomats, who have adopted a combative and abrasive style in responding to Western criticism on China's human rights record and aggressive foreign policy. In recent years, China's wolf warriors have gotten into fistfights with Taiwanese diplomats, stormed out of major diplomatic meetings, and have publicly spread fake news to attack countries Beijing has problems with. Wolf warrior diplomacy has precipitated highly public diplomatic clashes with the United States, Sweden, and France, among others. The problem with confrontational wolf warrior diplomacy is that it has made China deeply unpopular across the world. A poll by the American polling firm Pew Research found that views of China, which was significantly positive around a decade ago, have turned sharply negative in a number of global capitals. Citizens in developed countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, South Korea, and Germany, among others, held negative views of China. Similarly, India's view of its northern neighbor has also turned sharply negative in the last few years. However, China now seems in a hurry to abandon wolf warrior diplomacy. First, Beijing appointed Qin Gang, the country's ambassador to the United States, to the post of foreign minister. During his time in Washington, Qin Gang actively downplayed wolf warrior diplomacy and stated that China's envoys would pursue peaceful diplomacy. He also made an effort to be seen as more likable and even appeared at NBA basketball games. Meanwhile, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian, who was seen as the first wolf warrior and is known for his abrasive style in dealing with foreign media, was shunted off to an obscure division in the Chinese Foreign Ministry. So, what changed? President Xi Jinping and his advisors seem to have understood the level of China's diplomatic isolation. While this may have been a lesser concern in better times, Beijing has stumbled from a real estate and economic growth crisis to a COVID-19 public health emergency over just the last year. In the last few months, massive protests challenging the Chinese Communist Party's COVID strategy broke out and threatened President Xi's power. With economic growth in doubt and major domestic challenges on hand, China cannot also afford to annoy major external powers. President Xi Jinping may have realized the need to repair relations with the West, which is still among China's largest investors and markets. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz visited China recently with a massive business delegation in an effort to repair ties with Beijing. Charles Michel of the European Council and Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong were also hosted by China. These moves are significant. During its wolf warrior phase, China sanctioned European politicians who criticized its human rights record in Xinjiang and also slapped major economic sanctions on Australia, which had called for an investigation into China's mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Perhaps most significantly, American Secretary of State Antony Blinken will also visit China in the next few months as Beijing wants to stabilize its critical relationship with America. However, will anything fundamental change in China's approach? Beijing's about turn on wolf warrior diplomacy may simply be an alteration of form rather than substance. China's continued border aggression towards India, its military intimidation of Taiwan, its human rights violations in Xinjiang, and its efforts to rewrite international rules to reflect China's authoritarianism are unlikely to change. Some experts have argued that China's good behavior in recent weeks may simply reflect Beijing's need to stabilize key economic and political relationships abroad at a time of domestic crises at home. In other words, China will be driven more by a sense of danger and crisis, and less by a genuine change of heart about its relationship with the West. While China's wolf warriors may disappear, China's aggressive foreign policy seems here to stay.